Oh boy. So it's just going to be me today because this is so last minute. I had to hop on air, start up a show for you guys. If you don't know, you haven't heard the news, probably this notification has gotten to you and you have the news, but Celtics guard Jaylen Brown has been ruled out for the remainder of the 2020-2021 NBA season. The Boston Celtics play the Miami Heat tomorrow night at the Garden, which is essentially one of the biggest games we'll play all season. At this point, it really determines whether we're in the playing game or not, or gives us a shot at not being in the playing game. Um, with that being said, I don't know where this leaves the Boston Celtics this season. It's been a roller coaster ride of a season to begin with, and with Jaylen Brown now being ruled out with that torn left wrist ligament. It puts the Boston Celtics into kind of an awkward stage right now. It puts them into kind of that same spot they were in that 2018 season where they really didn't have that much to fight for. But obviously, I'm going to guess that the Boston Celtics will continue to play hard because that's what we all want to see out of them. Um, but with that being said, this doesn't necessarily rule out our season completely. 100% it is puts all of our chances at making a playoff run. It minimizes them 100%. Any basketball team that loses their second best player in Jaylen Brown, an All-Star, is going to feel the effects of that. But we've seen this before being the Boston Celtics. We've had this same story where, we unfortunately there's an injury where, it's next man up now. Evan Fournier has stepped up big. It's time for Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Pritchard, these guys to step up big and, hopefully they can give us something that result into us making a run into the playoffs. It really comes down to now Jason Tatum. This is Jason Tatum's time to step up and really make a difference on the basketball court. More than just scoring now. When you lose your running mate, and Jaylen Brown, both averaging over 24 points per game this season, both on all the All-Star teams, both have made multiple playoff runs together. So it's a big loss for not only the Boston Celtics, but, for Jason Tatum because, he's so used to playing and feeding off of Jaylen Brown's energy. With that being said, the Boston Celtics do play the Miami Heat tomorrow night at 7:30. Now, this is by no means a coverage of that game or a pregame show. This is really me talking about where this leaves the Boston Celtics. And, it leaves the Boston Celtics in a very, very bad spot. There's 4 games left of the season. They're not in any position to tank by any means and miss the playoffs. They've essentially bought into the play-in game. Um, and it leaves them in a spot where, they're really at this point just playing with house money. They're, whatever goes. Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens they're gonna have a lot to think about in this offseason with Jaylen Brown, being out. And, something that a lot of people don't understand is that Jaylen Brown has been a real difference maker for this Boston Celtics club. So, with him not being in the lineup, with him being out, it really leaves the Boston Celtics in an awkward stage, like I said before. Obviously, I'm not saying because I am a Celtics fan, so I'll stay a Celtics fan to the day I die. So I'm not saying the Boston Celtics are by any means out or can't make a run. It just makes a potential run very, very difficult. The Boston Celtics obviously have struggled all season to find a rhythm and a groove in the lineup. So, not having Jaylen Brown is definitely going to hurt. But, this is a great chance for guys like Aaron Nesmith and Peyton Pritchard to step up and make some plays. Similar to the Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum 2018 season with Hayward and Kyrie getting hurt. What that allowed is for the younger guys to step up and play with everything they got. And really, I hope we see that from the Boston Celtics. I by no means want to see this Celtics team, give in or quit. because honestly, that would be the worst thing to do for the Celtics team. Would just to be to give up because you're already in a position where you've had a very up and down season. So, I expect this Boston Celtics team to continue to fight hard, right? I think they will. I don't necessarily think this is completely it for the Boston Celtics, like everyone's saying it is. With that being said, there is a lot of bias coming, with that take. But I don't necessarily think, that this is season ending for the Boston Celtics. Now, yes, it's a huge hit, and yes, it probably is in the scheme of things, right? The Boston Celtics now, they don't have their second best player come playoff time. It's going to be really, really difficult for the Boston Celtics to make a run or even really get out of that playing game. But with that being said, we've seen crazier things happen in the NBA. So if I'm the Boston Celtics now, you know, of course, Jaylen Brown's going to be on the injury report for the rest of the season, and we don't know what Robert Williams' status is with the turf toe. That's one of those injuries where it's really, it takes a while to recover. So it's kind of one of those things you kind of just got to play through until it gets better. Um, but with that being said, we have our playoff team fully healthy now. The team that is playing for the rest of the year is the group of guys that's going to be playing for us in the playoffs. So right now, Brad Stevens has to assemble a rotation in these next 4 games where that group of guys can get used to playing with each other now. And so it's really important for Brad Stevens entering these last couple games to now put together a group of 8 or 9 guys that will be constantly getting minutes. I'm talking about Nesmith should be getting constant minutes now, Pritchard off the bench, obviously Tristan Thompson off the bench, and then someone like Ojale off the bench, right? Because right now, with what you lose out of Jaylen Brown is a whole lot of scoring, and a lot of defense. So, you got to find some way to make that up. And, obviously Evan Fournier is going to have to step into an even bigger role than what he, was brought here to do. He was really brought here to be a guy that's going to give you 15 off the bench. But, over the past couple games, he's shown us that maybe he could, give us a little bit more than 15 off the bench, so maybe Evan Fournier now can step up and be that, high level scorer. Now, obviously he's going to be no Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown's an all-star and what he brings to the table is simply is very hard to replace in this league, especially at the level that Jaylen Brown's been playing at all season. But, like I said, if the Boston Celtics can come into the mentality of next man up, they might just maybe have a chance at making a playoff run. And I know a lot of people might call me crazy for saying that, but this isn't necessarily, I said it, I've been saying it all stream, this isn't necessarily it for the Boston Celtics. To rule the Boston Celtics completely out for the rest of the season would be unfair because we've seen this group of guys make a run before. So obviously, Celtics not having Jaylen Brown is going to affect them in the long run, and they're really going to see the long term effects. Um, they're going to see the long term effects for the remainder of the season and throughout the playoffs. And, as we see Celtics rising here, that is my guy Justin, who is unfortunately not able to join us today on the live stream, says this is a huge opportunity for Aaron Nesmith. You lose a huge 3-and-D piece with Jaylen Brown, so it makes sense that Aaron Nesmith needs to see more time. And I couldn't agree more with you here, Justin. It is time now for Aaron Nesmith to step up and really grow as an NBA player. Over the last 30 days, month of the basketball, Aaron Nesmith is shooting the highest percentage from the three-point line in the NBA, minimum of 30 attempts from three. Aaron Nesmith was drafted because he was the best shooter in the draft. So it's time for Brad Stevens to throw Aaron Nesmith in and let him grow. And honestly, I know this might be a hot take now, right? But I'm full of those. I would even consider throwing Aaron Nesmith into the starting lineup and moving Smart to the bench. Now, hear me out. Because with now Jaylen Brown out of the lineup, it moves someone from the bench into the starting lineup, like Fournier. So I really think that not having Smart or Fournier coming off the bench at all now and having, especially for the playoffs, because you need that guy off the bench. Look at all the best teams in the NBA right now. They have that spark off the bench. Philadelphia 76ers have Danny Green, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, right? The The Milwaukee Bucks have their guys off the bench that come in and just give them the spark, right? That they got, even though Brooke Lopez starts, but Lopez plays that role. Dante DiVincenzo plays that role. Pat Connaughton plays that role. And look at the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers have guys like Wesley Matthews, and I know they struggle, but they play a huge role into those playoff runs. Like the Clippers. The Clippers, in the years past, Lou Williams. So, it's really important for Brad Stevens now to potentially throw Nesmith in. And I know he's a rookie, but man, he plays with a lot of heart. So when you got a guy that really wants to be out there and be in the moment, I really think Aaron Nesmith is your guy. And like I said, the Boston Celtics will play the Miami Heat tomorrow at 7:30 at the TD Garden. It will be the first game where 5,000 plus fans are in attendance at the TD Garden, the most in over 450 days, which is super exciting to be a Celtics fan. Although Jaylen Brown has been ruled out for the remainder of the season with a torn left wrist injury. That's tough to say, but then again, guys, I'm wrapping up here. If you're not following us on all of our social medias, go do so. Follow us on Instagram at the Celtics Talk Weekly. Follow us on Twitter at Celtics_weekly. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Me and Justin will be covering definitely the post-game show, but we're going to be having conversations. And if you're watching this video, let us know either on our Instagram or in the comment section of this video of whether or not you think we should maybe do a pre-game show. We would both be down for that, but we got to talk about it and we got to know what you guys think. But like I said, the Boston Celtics tip off against the Miami Heat 7:30 tomorrow at the TD Garden. We're going to really see what this Boston Celtics team is all about without Jaylen Brown. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in and watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below and subscribe to the YouTube channel because the Celtics Talk Weekly are just getting started. Thanks, guys.